Hey, sorry I'm a little bit late. uh, Before we even get into things, I am going to have to try and work on something here with the Stream Deck. I need to figure out a way to mute the mics. So let's see. Stream Deck, if you don't know, is a cool little keypad device. Actually, let me just bring it up and I'll show you. Kill that. By a company called El Gato. The cat. Let's see. Here we go. So it's this little macro device that allows me to just program in a bunch of different buttons that will allow me to just automate certain things. I'm trying to find a good picture of it here. Yeah, there we go. This is it. So it's a little 15 by 15 LED screen. You can configure what the button looks like and all that. You can build folders, so you can go it's not just all that front page. You can actually delve deeper into it. But it just allows you to just set up different just different settings. So I've got mine configured, and you can kind of see here that I can use it to switch my cam views. Like if I were to hit my chat view, see it's gonna move. It should move me. Yep. Why is it not working? There we go. Okay, I forgot about the 5-second delay, but it should move me to the chat window, or I can just hit the other button to move me back to that hit film view. So, just allows you to do quick transitions and all that. But I need to figure out a way to mute and unmute my mic, because there will be times when I need that. So let's see. It's Stream Deck, mute mic. Alright, let's see if we can find something. Good old Reddit. Like a piece of mute mic. Pop it up. Variety hockey options. Okay, that doesn't help. It should be somewhere in here. Let's see there. Pop out the chat real quick. Get everything squared away here. Yeah. I should have been doing, but it didn't get done before the stream started. That's okay. I'm the only one waiting, so that's good. Good. I'm not causing anybody else any undue strife. So let's see. So maybe it'd be on Stream Deck here. Nope. Oh, system maybe. What do we have under multimedia? Nah, that's not it. Oh, well, I'll have to figure out how to do that later. Anyway, tonight we are continuing on with the edit of the lawn bag stand. And so this weekend was eventful. Filmed some more. I got fed up with thinking about the stand as it was, and those what you call it, the rounded triangles as we discussed. Let me see if I can find the where the hell is it? Yeah, bending. Yeah, so come on, let's go back here. Where are we? Come on. Alright, that was me putting it back down, so here we go. So, those aren't really good circles, obviously. So I got annoyed by that. It was being hard to glue up, because as I would put pressure to try and get everything together, something else would pop out, just because of the forces at play on that. So even though this is functional, I got fed up, and on Saturday I refilmed the entire bending of the PVC, and that's about where it's going to be leaving off, because I didn't get much more done. I tried to do some yesterday, tried to do some more filming done on Sunday, but I had a little bit of an accident. I was filming the infamous helium infused pipe scene, and my scaffolding that I was on tumped over. Oh, hey, Mary Ellen. Yeah, it's okay. I'm doing a lot better now, but I was just complaining that the scaffolding tumped, and so maybe maybe in a little bit we'll take a look at the Humpty Dumpty me bouncing video. So yeah, my back is fine. I've never had any problems with the back. It's my neck, because when I went down, I kept my neck tense to keep my head from hitting the ground, and so my neck took all of the strain. So it was almost kind of like I guess maybe the equivalent of a little bit of whiplash. So I am right now, let's see, we used up all of the deep blue that we had for our, which is a healing ointment. We used up a lot of Icy Hot, and I got some Tiger Balm today, and that's what I've got going on me today. But yeah, the Tiger Balm's actually burning in really well. It feels good. But right now it's all just this muscle right in here that is just so tight and just sore. But I've got pretty much full range of movement. I've got a little bit of tension and soreness when I look around. But anyway, so I did jump the gun a little bit and get a little bit of pre-editing done. So let's take a look at what I put together, see where we are, and then we'll start integrating some more of the... let me go ahead and open this and get to my booba-dooba-doop. Open file location. Oh, that's the file. Okay, I got the file up here, so maybe we'll watch that real quick. But let's... So this is what I filmed on Saturday. So
that's okay.
For part of it.
This standstill works perfectly well. It's just not as symmetrical as I was expecting. All right, I just couldn't do it. I know the thing works, but it looked like crap.
God, I hate
it was
that
just
traffic.
not
Can't
coming
wait to
together
get
well.
the shop
So
itself.
we're going to start all over. We're going to do this the right way. We're going to rebend these this PVC, but this time we're actually going to use a template in order to get our circles just perfect. That means we're going to go back to the beginning of the video and get that circumference of our full bag that we measured and use that to figure out what size our rings
Kind of a
need
rough
to be.
transition
So
there, but that's okay.
we're going back to the math. So some of us nerds might remember the formula for the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. We already know the circumference of our full bag. It's about 65 inches for the bags I have. So if we take 65 and divide that by 2 pi, which is 6.28, we'll wind up with about 10 1/3 inches for our radius of the opening for the bag. Now we don't want our circles to be the exact size of that, so we're going to round that down to about 10 inches.
Okay, so that was where I got to editing so far. And I've got a bunch more footage of actually building the template and molding the new PVC and all that. Instead of trying to pre-cut it and mold it, I went ahead and molded them primarily as one big go-round. So, but here we go. We'll go ahead and show the video of me busting my ass here. So, so real quick, give you the play-by-play. What we got here is I'm sitting on a 2x4. So this scaffolding usually has these two arms right here that go across it, and a piece of plywood basically that sits on top of it. I took the plywood off. I took the one of the arms off so I could easily lean back. And I'm sitting on a piece of plywood with some carpet on there. And then on that back rail, I've got a little piece of foam, like a pool noodle, so that my feet won't will have something to rest on instead of that rough metal plate. And what I'm going to do is I'm about to lean back and put myself and invert myself. My lovely wife decided to help me, unknowing that it was going to become tragedy. So right here, I'm getting back and boom. That was the kaboomy. But yeah, so if we go back, everything was going fine as I leaned back and as Tara was supporting me. But I realized right now that this bar, this 2x4, was underneath my thighs and not getting underneath my knees like I expected it to, so I could hang down. And so I tried to right myself so I could readjust it. And that's when my dumbass didn't realize that I was cantilevering the entire upper portion of the scaffold. And so my considerable weight leaning out there just caused that entire thing to tump over. What I should have done was taken another 2x4 and screwed into this this post and brought it out so I could secure it to this front peg, preferably on both sides, to give it more stability against tipping. And so now I know what I got to do, and once I recover, I will refilm that. But that's okay. nobody got seriously hurt. I got Tara out of the way before the thing fell, before me or the thing fell on top of her, and you know, I bounced, so it's all good. Real quick, so right there, you can see me going, "Oh shit, I just fucked up." Telling Tara to get the hell out. I probably would have been a lot worse if she had not been there. So I'm glad that I was at least smart enough to to request that I had somebody else. Because basically, what would have happened before is, if Tara hadn't been there supporting me on that, as soon as I got back to about there, probably about there without her, that would have gone ahead and toppled over. I would have still been going back, and it could have been a lot worse. So I at least did the right thing. And actually, I probably would have landed on the fucking ladder because, you know. But anyway. So that was the kablooey moment. So, all right. So on to the actual stand here. Let me go back and let me get to my. Oh, and unfortunately, I had to film this stuff with the GoPro because while I was filming, so last time, the weekend before, I was using my iPhone. It was hard to watch. It was harder to experience. You know, I mean, I hit the ground pretty good, but you know, I've got a nice layer of insulating blubber that kind of protected me, and so I bounced pretty well. But yeah, it could have been a hell of a lot worse, and I'm glad and I'm lucky. But yeah, anyway, I wasn't the only thing to take a spill this weekend. So while I was filming, Augusta, I had taken a ladder, or I'm sorry, not a ladder, but a rake, and tried to use it to block some of the sunlight because my iPhone was overheating, being out in the sun, you know, being a black phone out in the sun, being in constant use for hours upon hours. So I was trying to shield it from the sun to give it a little bit more, you know, just keep some of the heat off of it. Well, a gust of wind blew it and knocked over the tripod. The phone is fine, the tripod is fine, but the little grip that held the phone in place, that held it on top of the tripod so I could use it, that snapped in half. So we ended up running out later Saturday and going and picking up a new one, which crazy expensive, like $20 for just a little grippy C. I probably could have built something in the shop if I'd had the time. But yeah, so I'm going to be back to the iPhone, but the video we're going to be looking at is going to be a little bit odd because it is kind of fish-eyed because of the GoPro. And so I don't know what to do about that. I'm going to have to just adapt. On the plus side, it's in 4K, so, which actually, now that I think about it, I hope that hit film in my measly computer can handle 4K. Yeah, it is not doing well, because as you see, we're jumping frames here.
So to cut out our template, the first thing we're going to need to be able to do is create a perfect circle. Insert Maynard.
All right. Well, we may not be able to do this video. I might have to refilm everything on the iPhone. Crap! I didn't think about that. So let's go back to the books and see what we can do. See, and it's definitely a hit film problem because if I open this up,
we're going to be able to need
the computer itself plays it just fine.
First, we need to be. So to cut a.
So it's definitely a hit film issue. Let me see what I can do about rendering 4K in hit film. So I remember reading about this now that it has problems, or it can have problems. Okay, so it supports it, but yeah. Let's see here. Let's see, viewer, laggy, and output jumpy for. Let's see. Okay, newest version. So let's see. This isn't helping. Okay, this is not helping at all. They're not even talking about the jumping of 4K. So. God, I hate Bing. 4K video playback being jumpy and hit Film Express 14. Problem, but it looks smart. Culprit for the state of the various posts are unsupported codec, inadequate GPU video card. Now that could definitely be the problem. I'm running off of a 2 gigabyte video card, so the video clip giving trouble. And it does have variable format. So 1920 by 10, so 4K. So let's see. Let me see here. Doop a doop a doop. A lot of specs. Regards to the resolution. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have trouble with editing this film with this computer. Fuck! I didn't think about that. All I was thinking was, you know, if I film it in 4K, I'll be able. One of the beauties of that is I'll be able to zoom in on different aspects of it and keep a really good resolution. But shit, I wasn't thinking about about the editing at the time. Well, we might not have anything to edit tonight. I need to figure this out because that's going to cause a lot of problems. Because there's no way I can get a new graphics card anytime soon. They're fucking ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I mean, actually, they're coming way down. Well, that's only the 3050, but still. Yeah, at least it's not over $1,000 anymore for just a base model. Give a little on-site plug here and see what's going on there. Just typically use Best Buy as kind of a litmus test for technology. No, I don't want you to give me any additional info. You suck. Come on. So let's see where we at here. Let's see, 3070 for 500. That's actually a pretty good price. Only 8 gigs on deck though. Wonder how many CUDAs that is. So if you're not familiar with GPUs, I believe CUDAs are the number of cores for calculations, and well, so the higher that number, the faster the card. I would love to get some. I'd love to get like a 12 gig onboard card. That would keep me, I think, going for quite a while. So let's see if we can just see what those are running at. So 12 gig. There's 39 options. I'm not spending $1,400 on one. Yeah, see, I don't know enough about the various cards to know what makes you know, the difference. So why is this one only $439 versus the other ones that were so much more? You know, because even if you look at the same like 3060, so 3060 with 12, yeah, that's a single fan configuration. So these are definitely the non-NVIDIA. I think I'd rather have just those plainless NVIDIAs if I could get one, just because, yeah, I don't know what the fuck these other guys are doing. And some of these things are complete beasts. Yeah, well, it's a combination of the fact that these cards came out and were very, very inexpensive for their power. Even the cheapest one was dwarfing the previous generation's processing capability. And then Bitcoin farmers, or I shouldn't say Bitcoin, I should say crypto farmers, were it actually wasn't Bitcoin farming. I believe it was Ethereum, which is a different type of Bitcoin. But yeah, those farmers were buying them up. That's why you might see like a lot of the less expensive ones are LHR now, which is low hash rate, which means they're not suitable for Bitcoin farming. So that's one of the reasons the prices are coming down, is because that portion of the demand is now gone. But yeah, so these are a little bit probably out of my price range for right now. Shit. And the other problem is if I get something like this. No, I don't want to take your survey, brother. Okay, good. So let me look at the specs, try and see, okay, chipset. 12 gig, which would be great. Trying to find the power needs, because I'm probably going to need to get a new power supply on this sucker too, which would be another like $200. But I mean, if I'm going to do this, I've got to do this, you know. Right now, I'm running off of an old 750 Ti, which let me see. So this thing was just, 2 gigabytes on board. Just kind of a piece of garbage. I mean, it was fantastic at the time, but it's just garbage now. What the? No, I don't. Jesus. Quit. This is why I hate Microsoft products. They're so damn pushy. The only thing worse than a Microsoft product is an Apple product. Let's see here. Did I just miss something about the... Okay, I guess I'm going to have to go to, like, Q&A and see if they... See if they have... Nope, they don't have anything for power supply. Let's look for watt. Nope. Nah. Let's go to NVIDIA's site and see what they have. I know this wasn't really what you signed on for, but I appreciate you being here. Products, graphics cards. We will shop all. I'd really like to get it somewhere around probably the 3070. That's 8, 16. Wow, geez, no, that's a full thing. Though. That's a full setup. Actually, that might not be bad to pick up. So the deal is I'm probably going to end up getting myself a new computer, a complete new setup, and giving my old box with Tutera with a new card in it. So how much memory does this have on it? Does it say 16? No, it's Jesus Christ, only 16 gigabytes of DDR4. I want at least 64. God dang it! Probably have to spec out a comp for that though. 16, no, crazy. Alright, you can't get the 12s by themselves or something, or what? It's all just 8 gigabyte. Do I have to move up to a different caliber of card to get that? Nope, not 3090 was not what I meant to click on, because I know that's going to be over $1,000. Yeah, it's still only 8 gig. Let me see if we got a comparison chart here or something. Yeah, here we go. Specs. Compare specs. Okay, so the CUDA cores are the NVIDIA product that allow... It's all learning. Yeah, that's true. It is a learning experience. Yeah, for all of us. So the more CUDA cores, basically the faster the CPU or GPU. Yeah, wow, 3070 has half the CUDA cores of the 3090. So let's see, so standard memory configuration. So if I want to bump up to a 12, I either need to go with the 3080, or I'm going to have to go with a aftermarket manufacturer. Oh, whoop. There's a 3060 with 12. That's interesting. But a lot less cores. I'm not worried about the boot. I'm not going to OC anything. I'm not overclocking. Excuse me. overclocking is not my thing. The one time I tried to overclock a computer and built my own, literally the motherboard caught fire on me while I was sitting down playing a video game. I just heard a whoosh and looked over, and there was black smoke coming out of the computer. I was like, oh shit. So I had to yank the plug real quick. Which, since that was back in the day of the spinning drives, I don't think that was a really good idea either. But so all of this shit's the same, all on Ampere. So I think most of this stuff all looks the same. Yeses across the board. SLIs. Yeah, I'm not worried about SLIs. I'm not going to try and frickin' chain a bunch of these together at this point. That'll be once I'm a much more famous YouTuber, and then I'll have somebody else design my shit for me. So 7th generation, 5th generation decoder. CUDA capability. I'm not sure what by 8.6, but I mean it's all the same, so it doesn't really matter. So max resolution, standard displays, HDMI 3 display ports. It's good. I'm a much more bigger fan of DisplayPort than I am HDMI, mainly because with DisplayPorts you can daisy chain your monitors, so you can have one cable coming out of your graphics card going to monitor A, and then from another cable going from monitor A to monitor B, and you can daisy chain up to, I think it's like, I guess it depends on your graphics card, but you can daisy chain several monitors together. And so you don't have to have a set number of slots on the back of your graphics card to match the number of monitors you have. You don't have cables going everywhere. It's just a lot more efficient. I don't know what that does for, like, latency or anything like that as far as like gaming or anything, but it can't be that bad. So, oh, here we go, multi-monitor. So yeah, I guess they're set up for 4 monitors. I'm not sure what. Not sure which version DisplayPort this card supports. I'm assuming 2.0, but it might just be back to 1.4 or 1.2 even. But I think that'd be hard to believe. Let's see, maximum GPU temp. Okay, so the better, 93 is about standard there. So here we go, graphics card power. So that's number of watts. So here we go, power required in the system. So I think right now I've got like a 600 in there. I'm not 100% sure what I'm rocking in this sucker. I need to pull it out. But if the minimum required power for this one's 550, and I am looking at what I say, if I was, let's go with 3080 so I can get my 12 off the bat. I'd need probably a 750. So I mean, honestly, I would probably just go ahead and invest and get a 1000. I don't know how much that costs. Let's we can go back here and we'll go power supply. I'll probably end up getting it off like Newegg or something like that, but let's go 1000 watts or more. Yeah, so I mean, $176. That's not that bad. And you can probably find them better prices too. I don't need 1200. Let's see what we got here in the 8 to 9 range, just out of curiosity. I'm always one for, like, when you're getting things like a power supply or memory or something like that, go overboard. Get as much as you can up front, because you're never going to regret having too much of that. You're never going to say, wow, I really wish I hadn't spent that extra $20 to future-proof my machine. So, I mean, shit. This is the same price as the 1000 for an 850. Yeah, but see, that's the other thing to think about is, what if in the future I do decide to, do SLI and get multiple graphics cards going? Well, then that 850's power recommendation is no longer adequate. I would need to boost that up. So yeah, I'm thinking about 1000. So now we've taken it from, like, $500 for the graphics card, now $750 or so after tax and all. So probably a little more than that. But, yeah, that's okay. That reminds me, I've got to get my damn taxes done. I've kind of sat on that. And they're due, what, Friday? Yeah, April 11th, so what are taxes due for 2021? Did they give an extension on that? Or 2022? Wow, I forgot. Okay, yeah, so they're not due until the 18th. So that's good. So I'll have next weekend to knock that out. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Mary. Thank you. Yeah. For some reason, I have the 15th locked in my mind. I think that's just the average day, but they typically give like the weekend after the 15th or something like that. Or maybe I'm just completely off, but that's okay. I know I've got a little bit of extra time, so. And I don't know what the fuck makes the difference between the different. You have to do your take. You want to do mine? I'll be happy to let you do mine. You can't screw it up any more worse than I did a couple of years ago. I got a contacted by the IRS for my 2019 taxes. Apparently, I put in that my what you call it? You used to work for H&R Block. That's cool. Yeah, no, I just used TurboTax, but I had a typo, and instead of putting my mortgage insurance payments at $6,700, I put it in at $6.7 million. So I got paid back a little more than I should have, and I owe the IRS a hunk of money. So I'm gonna have to get that paid soon. So yeah, oopsie. That's all right. It really was an honest mistake, and they can obviously tell that I wasn't trying to scam them. They were very helpful when I called them and talked to them, and got everything squared away. So yeah, that's a pretty big typo. Yeah, I guess maybe I tried to put in a comma or something, or I didn't put the period. I put an extra zero instead of the period. So whatever, is what it is. Yeah, I went back. I made sure it wasn't a scam because I was feeling a little bit awkward about that. But I went back and I looked at my actual tax records, and I was like, yeah, I did do that. So, oops. I should have realized by the much larger return that it wasn't legit. But that was the same year that I got married, and so it was my first year filing jointly. And everyone always says, hey, you get back so much more when you file jointly because it changes your tax bracket and da-da-da-da. And so I was like, oh, wow, this really did pay off. Wow, marriage is pretty great. But, yeah, it didn't pay off that much. So that's okay. I'm a happy married man, so I'll get through it. Anyway. All right, so I'm trying to figure out what I can do as far as getting back here to messing with the 4K stuff. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to use that footage, which sucks because, like, this is building the, once I get in there, it's not that bad. Yep. I don't know what to do about this. Let's try something. No, that's not going to work. Trying to figure out what to do about this.
To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to attach our router to just an extended piece of...
Yeah, it looks like, see, I'm going from 4617 to it's just like jumping frames. It's dropping a ton of frames. Thick. Wonder if it's just in the trimmer. Let me see this. Let me go and hit over here, get an endpoint and an out point real quick, and we'll play that and let's see. Oh, it is just in the trimmer. That's okay. That's good. Okay, no, that's fine. That just means that instead of using the trimmer, we will drop the thing down here, and we will edit over here. So that'll work. That'll be good. Okay, all is well. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. Oop, that's not the right thing to do. Okay, whew, that scared the bejeebus out of me. So.
Okay, so in order to make our template for our rings, we're going to need to be able to cut a good circle. So in order to make our template for our rings, first we're going to need to be able to cut a complete circle. So in order to make...
I want to move this up a little bit because I want to get the... Actually, maybe I want to just zoom in on myself and... Cut that out. Let's see. Where's the damn zoom? What do I have to do to zoom? That's just enlarging my screen there. I'm guessing to transform. Options, blend. There should be a damn zoom. Should not be this complicated. Alt, Control, Shift. Let's see, options. We're learning, we're learning. Let me take this back to the very beginning and see. Let's see where I stand here. So that gets me right about in the center. Okay, that's moving the entire screen. Still moving the entire screen. No, I don't want to do a mask. I'm not going to do a freehand mask. Okay, let me think here. So effects. I can always add the zoom effect here, I believe. Controls, maybe? Yeah, I thought for sure there was something I could do in there. Audio, video. Here's a zoom. I mean, yeah, but that's a transition. So that's not what I want. You know, I've accidentally done this 100 times. You would think. So I don't want... Yeah, see. So that's how I'm going to actually rotate the video when I film the upside down piece. Come on, JP, think. What the hell am I doing here? Alright, I'm not sure what the hell I did, but now it's allowing me to move it where I'm kind of wanting. Okay, we got me. Let's see, do I want me center? Yeah, let's get that out of the way. There's a lot of dead space there. Yeah, so
okay, so in order to make our template for our rings, we're going to need to be able to cut a good circle. So in order to make our template for our rings, first we're going to need to be able to cut a complete circle. So in order to make our template for our rings, first we're going to need to First we need to be.
I know what I've got to say in my head, and it's just not coming out right.
So to cut out our template, the first thing we're going to need to be able to do is create a perfect circle. Insert Maynard.
Alright, so I don't need that. That can go out of the way. Placeholder, I can turn that off real quick. And I don't know what this next one is.
To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to attach our router to just an extended piece of scrap. But I had it written out and had it fucking work.
Okay, not sure why that piece is there, but I'm not sure what I just did with it, so I'll bring it back. Put it up here in the placeholder block. Oop, nope, I don't want to go there.
So in order to create our jig, to create our jig,
Actually, I can barely hear myself now, and that's a problem.
in order to cut perfect circles, what we're going to need is just a piece of long scrap that we can attach a router to. And what we'll do is we'll plunge cut a hole into our. So what we'll do is we'll plunge into the.
So it looks like I'm going to be chopping bits and pieces of this together.
So what we're going to need in order to. So in order to cut our template, we're going to need to be able to make perfect circles. So to make a quick jig, we're just going to attach our router to a scrap piece of wood and then measure back to create a pivot point that will create our circles for us.
That actually wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great. But
so what we're going to need in order to.
is I think about probably right about here. I'm basing this on the waveform of the audio because I can tell that, you can't really tell shit from the video. There's no waveform there, but from the audio I can tell where I got lulls in language and speaking, and then where it's popping back up.
So what we're going to need.
Let's see here.
So in order to cut our template, we're going to need to be able to make perfect circles. So to make a quick jig, we're just going to attach our router to a scrap piece of wood and then measure back to create a pivot point that will create our circles for us.
I'm probably going to end up cutting out that create our circles for us piece because that's redundant as hell, but I can get rid of all of that, thankfully. So let's see here.
Make a quick jig.
Okay.
We're just going to attach our router to a scrap piece of
zoom in here so I can see my
wood and then measure back to create a pivot point that will create.
All right, so find the pivot point.
Pivot point.
So then from pivot point, I can just move forward just a little bit. See where I'm at with my hand motions. V to select the excess, delete to get rid of it. Oop, actually, I don't want to delete that yet because there's some other stuff after that. I want to see what the hell that was. Be adjusting. Hopefully not doing anything too embarrassing. Okay, yeah, just be checking the... I got out my old, like, Generation 2 iPad, and I'm using that for, you know, how we sat down and we kind of worked on the script and all that, and I wrote down thought idea, bullet points and stuff. So, got that back out, and I'm using that to kind of guide me. Alright, so... let's delete the gap there. Let's see how this flows together.
Circumference of our full bag, it's about 65.
Okay, we don't need that much. Yeah, by the way, I really felt like I would add the towel thing in here for the more nerdy of us. I don't even know, Mary, if you're nerdy enough to know that math. I'm not sure how math conscious you are, but I didn't know that until, you know, one of those Bader Meinhof things. I didn't know that until recently because I've got a buddy of mine who's very, very math oriented, very great with physics, and he and I were talking about circumferences of a circle and all that, talking about this video, and he brought up that tau is actually a more accurate measurement than 2 pi.
With about 10 1/3 inches for our radius of the opening for the bag. Now we don't want our circles to be the exact size of that, so we're going to round that down to about 10 inches. So in order to cut our template, we're going to need to be able to make perfect circles. So to make a quick jig, we're just going to attach.
Yeah, you can really tell the color difference between the cameras too. This is more like of a muted yellowish color, whereas this has more of a brighter blue. But that's okay. I can live with that. So let's see what we've got here in this second clip. We'll just watch the clips out of this, and then if I like what's here, then I'll add it, and then we'll start editing it.
So by attaching a long piece of scrap to our router, we can drop a plunge cut hole.
This might be actually pretty much the same thing I already have.
We can plunge a hole into the scrap and then measure back to create a pivot point in order to, and boom. Jesus, that line was so hard. It was great last night. So to create our jig, we will take a piece of scrap and we will attach it to the bottom of our router. Then we'll plunge cut a hole and then measure back from that hole in order to create a pivot point that will allow us to make our perfect circles. So So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of a router so that we can plunge cut a hole and then measure back from that hole to drive a screw and create a pivot point, and then boom, we've got a cheap, dirty, homemade circle cutting jig.
I could probably clip that together.
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we're going to attach it to the bottom of our router, and then we can take and plunge a hole into the scrap and then measure back from that hole to find our pivot point that will allow us to make just a cheap, dirty, homemade circle cutting jig. Why can I not say this? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of scrap and we're going to attach it to the bottom of a router, and then we'll plunge cut a hole. And then from that hole we can measure back to find a pivot point that will allow us to make a perfect circle. And there you go, boom. You've got a cheap, easy, do-it-yourself homemade circle cutting jig.
Too many adjectives. I think that's what
Too
it was.
many adjectives.
Yep. I remembered saying that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of scrap. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. Then there you go, Bob's your uncle. You've got a cheap, easy DIY. Nope, still, again, I'm going back in.
Yeah, everything was great until I tried to do that cheap, easy, dirty, piece of shit DIY.
And boom, we've got a cheap, and boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to clip that and see how that works together too. So we will slap that in there. We will grab this. We're going to go, I think it was back to here or so.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece
damn
of
it.
scrap.
I got too excited.
You've got a cheap, easy, do-it-yourself homemade circle cutting jig. And boom, we've got a cheap.
Okay, so I know that from basically this very last section here.
And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Okay, I can delete that. But I'm pretty sure I like that section. Let's see what else we got here.
So what we'll do is we'll take a.
Okay, skip. How is that? There. Probably right about here.
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
And then I think this right here is the point in which I choked.
And there you go, Bob's your uncle. You've got a cheap, easy.
Yep. And so now if we go to V and we ripple delete that, let's see how this flows together.
So that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
So I definitely want to clip it and delete all that like. Now I've just got to decide which version I like better.
So in order to cut our template, we're going to need to be able to make perfect circles. So to make a quick jig, we're just going to attach our router to a scrap piece of wood and then measure back to create a pivot point. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom. Create a perfect circle.
So we get to there. Then let's see if we can. Now let's see if we can add a zoom effect. No, this is not what I want. What I want is for this clip. God damn it! How did I do that just a minute ago? Let's go back here to scale to fit. Oh my god, I need a drink. That the original one? Yeah, I went moved back there. So. Okay, I definitely want this up a little bit. I wish I could have some like guidelines that I could pull in to show me my rule of thirds here. I wonder if there's something I can do on that. As the exporter. Let's see. The effects window. Yeah, let's get the window here. There, I think we can export. Yeah, I really wish I could add that because that might help me line things up a little bit better.
So we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Welcome back. I'm trying to figure out how to do a better transition here, because I really want this to kind of go more into that. That's a really rough cut, but if I change the camera depth, I think it'll seem more intentional and less just like, you know, I'm chopping different pieces together. So,
and boom.
So I need to get rid of a little bit of that on the front end though, because that.
And boom. Point. So that we can create a perfect circle.
Let's see if maybe I can get my hand. Nah.
We can create a perfect circle.
Trying to get my hand in a similar position between the two cuts, but I can't. So, all right, let's see if I can. Okay, I got it where I can move it around on the screen. That's fine. But how did I zoom in? How did I get to do that? That's looking kind of rough anyway, so. Alright, let's see here. Now we get that leaning into the screen, pondering like it's going to solve anything for me. Options. I don't know what checkerboard background does there, but anyway. Set screen. Interesting. I don't know what the hell that does. I'll have to look and found some options I didn't really know existed, so I'll have to look into that. So let me go ahead and scale to fit again here. There's got to be a way to zoom. Oh, I didn't realize I could just click there to export a frame. So export a frame allows you to take a screenshot, basically, and that's how I've been using this to kind of pull together some of the backgrounds and all that. I think we talked about this in an earlier video, but I knew I could go up here to the export and do the two export a frame. I didn't realize it was right there. I wonder if there's a quick key for it. Don't tell me. That is another thing I've got to do, is I've got to get used to the keyboard hotkeys for all this stuff. I need to start looking into that a little bit more.
Circle. And boom.
Yeah, see that? So my position shifts way too much there, so I need to, oh, god damn it. Why are you doing me like this? Okay, that I want up a little bit higher because this is about a third of the screen. I'd like my eyes about there, and I'd like the router and all that to be in the bottom half of the bottom third.
And boom.
So So if we try and do that as well here, try and ballpark that.
You can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY.
So, I mean, I got it roughly at the same height, so that's pretty good. I really wish I could zoom in on myself with the and boom portion. But is what it is. So let's not get too much into the weeds on that. Let's move on to the next clip here. Come on, move the fucking playback machine. Yeah, I wish I hadn't left the garage door open here. But you can see my my annoyed rake.
We'll just slide our board forward.
Yeah, this is not going to
secure it down.
I'm not going to worry about this.
Throw on our PPB.
Yeah, this is worthless video part right there. And actually, I just realized that
In order to cut our template,
I think that was the original version. I kind of like the second version that I did a little better. Let me double check real quick before. Come on.
So in order to cut our template, we're going to need to be able to make perfect circles. So to make a quick jig, we're just going to attach our router to a scrap piece of wood and then measure back to create a pivot point. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router.
And I need to adjust that audio up a little bit.
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Yeah, I kind of like that second one better, which means I can get rid of that. Which means I can ripple delete the gap on that. Move it there, and let's see how that flows together.
The exact size of that, so we're going to round that down to about 10 inches. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Yeah, I'm going to have to add in some transitions and stuff as well, but let's see. Garage still open. Okay, so this might be some B-roll footage here. Because I talked about what we'll do is we'll secure it. Okay, so let me see what have I got here. Okay, so I'll pull that, drag that in to here. Actually, I can remove this because I'm not using anything from that clip, and that'll save up a little bit of storage space. Is it going to work on here? Nope, not going to work in there either. So, okay, let me pull this over. Let me go back here to what I was talking about.
So we're going to round that down to about 10 inches. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router.
Okay, so right here, I'm going to move this in because
and that will
unlink this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use
our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
So we can cut that out because that's all just a bunch of buildup. The hell did I just do? Okay, so we will zoom in here a little bit, cut that, paste, remove this. Whoop, we don't need ripple delete, we just need to delete that. I wish I could add a marker so I knew exactly where I was.
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom.
Come on.
Scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router.
My computer is not happy with me right now.
A piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then
So we'll cut that.
allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure.
Get over here to where I finally got the thing positioned. We will cut that. Delete this. Move it back over here. I don't know which one I want to use here though, so.
Scrap, and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
Yeah, so let's cut that. We'll delete it.
To the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom!
Yeah, I think I actually don't even want that. I think I just want to move this up forward a little bit.
What we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point of our router.
As soon as I get to there, I can cut that out. And that's what I've got here. Did I do anything else interesting? No. Okay, good.
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
All right, let's see. I think this should probably be like measuring or something like that. I don't know. We'll just slide our board forward. This is the part I'm not going to use. That's securing it for the plunge. Okay, yeah, I definitely want to use that for the part where I'm talking about plunging, so. Add that in. Slap that in. Let's find where... Okay, no, god damn it, I need to zoom that back out. Why is it not letting me zoom? Okay. We're going to delete that. We will go to here. Move that to there. I'll do it. Okay, let me see if I can just find the end out points here. Okay, we'll do it in there, out there, and then we'll move it here. Let's see if... Oof, that's not... Oop, that's the wrong portion of that. Okay. So I want to get the, try and get the bit plunging at that line and the bit coming through at about that line. The imaginary lines there. So move this back over to here. Maybe, I don't know if that's zoomed in too much. See if that made any fucking difference in where the zoom was. Nope. Alright, let's see. Let's figure this out. Okay, I can move that around. I guess I can make this work for me. Okay, first things first, we're gonna unlink this shit. We don't need the audio. Although it might be cool to use this like very low in the background, so we'll turn it just down real quick. And I can see from the waveform where I start this up, so everything before that we can just get rid of that crap. The voice level between the two. Talking about from here.
That down to about 10 inches. So what we'll do
think I need to level that off?
10 inches. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap.
Nope, that's a little bit low, I think.
So what we'll about 10 inches. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router.
Is that more in line with keeping it even? I think it sounds a little bit more even. You're right. Oop. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Good call. Thank you, Mary. All right, so we've got the initial plunge. Pop through. Okay, and so what I really think I want so I got that. I want to get it from the apex where it's up at the top. To where it comes back through in the bottom here. We'll go to select and we'll get rid of that. And I wonder if I can relink that stuff. Next one, I still have there's link. Yeah, but anyway. Let me do this. Nope, not gonna let me link it because I added a cut in there. And it's okay. So now we'll go back to here.
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to, and that will allow us to plunge.
So this bump right here is the word plunge cut. So that's where I want that. Oop, nope. Don't want that all the way up there. I want that there.
Plunge cut a hole and then measure back. This will allow us to plunge cut a hole. To plunge cut a hole and then take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
That was way too short, wasn't it?
Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find
I don't know that the audio actually adds anything in there except for annoyance.
To plunge cut a hole and then measure back.
I think I want to move that a little bit forward here. Okay, come on. Give it a second for the computer to chill out.
Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back.
Yeah, my computer is just freaking a little bit because of how much data I've got here. Let me save this before I, completely kablooey everything.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot. That will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
Okay, so what I need to do then.
To plunge cut a hole and then measure.
Okay, so I just need to slow this down is what I need to do. I need to stretch out the duration a little bit. Speed duration from different durations. Okay, shit. That's right. How do I link these back up? Remove pre-render. I guess I can make it a composite clip. I may have to do that. Oy. Can I make composite? Nope, can't make composite out of two separate shots. Okay, so here's what we'll do then. We will deselect, we will go back to square A. Come on. Okay, so I really did just cut that right where... Okay, so we go to there. Cut it there, and I didn't cut at these points, so I'll have to redo that. There we go. Forgot I unlinked it. V there, delete that. Delete that, we'll try that. Let's relink this again. Okay, now we'll bring this up to here.
What we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole. Allow us to plunge.
Yeah,
Us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point, so that we.
the problem is plunge cut a hole is like such a short duration phrase.
Cut a hole and then.
A hole.
And measure back.
So let me. I don't want to cut it there. What I want to do is I want to decrease the duration. I mean, it's gonna just go zip. It'll look friggin' ridiculous, I think. Let's see, 6:22:15 to 6:21:12. So basically, I want 1 second. That's not even gonna be worth friggin' having. If I cut a 7-second clip down to like 1 second, it's gonna look like, I mean, it's gonna be ridiculous.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
And that didn't even do what I was what I wanted it to do.
Allow us to plunge cut.
Speed duration. Okay, it's linked. I wanted to go to like 1 second and 15 frames. Yeah, okay, so that reduced it.
Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
Yeah. Oh, I hate this fucking computer. Maybe we don't even use the plunge cut piece then.
To plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point, so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Yeah, I don't even have the part where I friggin' cut through the bottom in here. Right, I like the actual other piece where I go back up. It just seems a lot smoother. So if we cut right there, get rid of all that. And then we basically take the frame back to about there. Get rid of all that, and then move that over to here, so.
I'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
Yeah, I'm just. I feel like it needs to be at least a few seconds to make it work.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
My main frustration right now is the damn lag, the jumpiness.
Will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point, so that we can create a Allow us to plunge cut a hole.
So that's the plunge cut a hole. So, and measure back. So that's what I'm looking at right there. Is from this bump
to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot. And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
that fucking lag going in there just drives me crazy. Just want to see if it does any better without the underlying segment.
And that will allow us to measure back.
Actually, I guess I can't really do that, can I? I need to... then I can delete the video. Let's see.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find...
I mean, it runs a little smoother.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole. Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back.
I'm getting, yeah. What do you mean by much shorter than at first? Much smoother? Yeah. Let me see here. For my duration there, so that's 6:21:07, 6:22:04. So yeah, I need to straighten that out to speed duration. Like 1 second. Let's see.
Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
Shave off a few of those seconds there.
To plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point. Bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
Well, that's the right timing, but terrible. Wait. Just looks terrible. It's so fucking choppy.
That will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a...
Actually, that once I let it render for a minute, that was actually...
So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point.
Yeah, I think that actually worked out. Okay. Oh, frustrating, but... Alright, on to the next clip. Still haven't realized the garage door is up. That's right, I don't think anybody else will notice either if I don't see anything. What the fuck am I doing back there? Oh. That was me sharpening a pencil with a razor blade. Get the nice GoPro in the shot here. This is actually, I'm going to have to, I can't use this anyway because I fucked these measurements up. These are the wrong ones, so. Let's see, top. Okay, that's just bad footage. I don't need that at all. Oop, where did I? Sorry, I'm trying to look through my my footages here, and all right, that's too far back. Oh, this is 8-minute songs. This is where I figure out that I fucked up the. Yeah, here we go. So what happened? And I'm gonna explain this. I'll probably do a voiceover if I don't have me speaking here. So to cut the circle, to cut the what we're gonna do is we're gonna build basically a ring. The inner diameter of the ring is going to be the diameter to hold the bendable PVC for the top ring, and then the outer diameter of the ring will be the right dimension to hold the upper ring, or the base. That's going to be a little bit wider than our bag, and so in order to do that, I need to make two pivot points on this this trammel, this circle cutting jig, and because of the width of the actual bit, what we know is to cut the outer perimeter. I want the nearest. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see, the nearest side of the drill bit hole to ride along the top of it. So I want to measure back from that closest side to find my pivot point for my top ring. But then when I'm cutting the inside of it to get the bottom of the ring, the top portion of the of that spinning bit, which is up here, is going to be riding against the surface that we need to put our PVC on. So we want to measure that back from the top. So it's going to be I realize I screwed that up. I got those confused in the previous measurement segment. So I actually measured the bottom one from the bottom and the top one from the top. So this is the see, this is 389. So we'll move that in here because we're going to need to use that. See how close up it forces us on that. That's actually not bad. So let me move our timeline over a little bit here. I don't know if I even talked during this. We're still getting that laggy jumpiness, but that's okay for right now. Okay, it's no longer okay. Alright, we're just gonna have to sit here and wait for the computer to render a little bit. Enjoy a nice sip of Diet Coke while I'm waiting. Yeah, I've been trying to cut out caffeine, but the last few days have just been really shitty, and so I'm not denying myself that little bit of pleasure. So this is my my one soda for the day. All right, let's see here. So let me see if I can. Okay. I'm not sure if the pen is a good idea or not at this point. Yeah, I really like Diet Pepsi too, but most places around here are Coke product. Alright. Oh, fuck. There's just so much data to be rendered with this 4K stuff. Especially an 8-minute long clip, so. And now that I think about it, that's going to be a whole lot of data on here. What do I have going on the back end of this? Okay, a lot of this I can cut out because I fucked it up. So let's get let's see, where I'm doing all that and get it out of the timeline. So we're just gonna go ahead and we'll crop this out of the timeline real quick. Because that's not shit that needs to get rendered. Hopefully that will help. I'm gonna do another save real quick, just in case I crash something. Yeah, we're still getting choppy. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, well, now that I've got caffeine under control, I gotta get back to doing a keto diet and get rid of some of this weight. Man, I was doing really great. Before pre-pandemic, I was down 50 pounds. And I found all that shit again once that pandemic hit. Alright, we got lagged up again. At least my my handwriting there is a little bit legible. Oh, you piece of shit! Come the fuck on! Here. Let's see if that helps. Why do I have this little what is that little segment of something there? It's like one fucking frame of something. Okay, yeah, it's garbage. Yeah, we're still staggering. I can see by the way the thing is jumping. The playhead's being a pain in the butt. Alright. Let's think. Let's do another save. Trying to think of what I've got going that I can shut down and maybe add a little bit more. So it's need that, don't need that, need that, need that. Okay, I don't have anything that I can shut down. Alright, seems to be working okay now. Of course, it's bogging down again, so I'm just gonna let it play through and see what the hell happens. Maybe it just needs to render the frames once in order to get it to work. It's really funny that it's just dropping the video clips, or the video frame, and the audio seems pretty funny. All right, let me see if I explain that distance anywhere. Excuse me. Just verifying that the router is actually going to fit. So now you see kind of how that pivot point works for this trammel on the router to cut a perfect circle. I guess I was thinking that I would do a whole lot of voiceover stuff. Oh, hey, I finally realized the garage door's open. So some of this is usable. I mean, making it, definitely a lot of it needs to be cut out. Just painful editing this 4K stuff with this crappy computer.
Gotta wear your PPE.
Yeah, definitely want that clip. I gotta wear the PPE thing. Just kind of. I might pull out the audio and just throw that on without me throwing the thing. Just resplice that. But. Really, I should be using something to help clear these chips out of the way. Okay, and at that point I realized that the collet that holds the router bit in was bottoming out against that wood, so it wouldn't cut deep enough because I had a 1/2 inch straight cutting bit in there, and you're only supposed to leave about 1/8 of the neck of the point that goes into the collet of the collet is the piece that screws down and kind of grips the shaft of the drill bit or of the router bit. And you're only supposed to leave about 1/8 of an inch between the collet and the start of your bit. So the length of that bit was not able to get all the way through the 1/2 inch of MDF that I'm using for the template, as well as the 3/4 inch plywood that I'm using there. I think it was only like a 1 inch bit, so I had to go back and modify a little bit. But I'm not going to use all this clip anyway, so it's okay. Actually, I'll turn the volume down so you're not getting deafened on here. I forgot I could do that on this. So, clear a little bit of the dust out of the way. Okay, so maybe that wasn't exactly where I realized it. I didn't realize it till right about here. So, for safety's sake, you're not supposed to have more than that much, because more than about 1/8 of a gap between the bit and the collet. As long as you're taking really, it is a lot of fun. It's really cool to see when everything works out, and to see that you can do. Yeah, then here I had a brain fart and didn't think about taking the motor out of the whatchamacallit yet, the housing, the plunge base. Okay, but this stuff is all going to get cut out because this is non-essential. Yeah, way to get that in camera, JP. That doesn't matter. It's getting cut out anyway. So what I might do is just get that initial circle and then cut to maybe, cut it in to a scene where I'm getting to the bottom of it, because you don't need to see every round of this or whatever. Is this where I start marking it, or is that the next one? Yeah, it's the next one, so... Okay. Hopefully it's the next one. Yeah, it's definitely the next one. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut together this one and the next piece, I think. Which one is this? This is 90. 90. Oh, tell me I actually recorded that. Oh, motherfucker, I didn't. I lost a key piece of recording there. That sucked. I forgot that camera only, that the, shit, that sucks. I forgot that, the GoPro only records, like, 8-minute bursts. Well, it should have automatically started a new recording. Yeah, here it is. Okay, good. Yeah, it automatically started the new recording. Ooh, scared me for a minute there. So while I had the okay, so I know that I'm going to create 3 segments of my rings, and instead of trying to measure the length of each one and get it accurate, I figured the easiest way to do it would be to draw on my template, make the template itself in 3 segments, so I would know exactly where to cut and where to that's what I'm looking for, and where to attach and things like that. And it actually ended up helping. But I thought I had some audio here about math that I'm kind of surprised I don't have, because I had to get a protractor out to measure 120 degrees from that central line that I created, so that I could divide the ring into 3 segments. And then it was just a matter of connecting the dots. And I'm going to talk about, getting 3 pieces of pie and then cut to a Homer Simpson pie. So, yeah. Okay, good. So the reason that I was confused about losing it, if you look at the name conventions on, let me get to a bigger, where's the view, extra large icons. So if you look at the naming conventions on the files, this is GHO103, whatever. And then it goes to 1391. I was expecting it to be a contiguous number to go for 91 to be the next one, but it actually jumped up to 20390 when it did the automatic changeover. So that's what threw me for a loop there. But anyway, let's see how this is doing, see if it's rendered well, and if we can watch through what I've got going on here. Nope, we're still just chunking. Okay, so we are going to do a file. We're going to save. We will close. We will reopen hit film. Another instance is already running. No, it is not. I just closed it down, dickhead. Okay, lawn bag stand. Alright, that seems to have helped. Now I've got to mention in here, one of the nice things about this is because, we're just trying to, estimate. It doesn't have to be perfect. I was also impressed with my upside down writing ability on this. So not going to lie, I nerded out a little bit on that. Okay, so let's scroll in here, see where we're going to fit this into the timeline real quick.
Pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect.
Okay, let's unlink.
To plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
God damn it, it worked so well until I fucking... Oh, I wish I could just, reopen... Let's see. I hope I don't have to reopen this damn thing every single time. And that's what I gotta do, that's what I gotta do, but that means I'll just have to do a lot of this editing off stream until I get through the 4K stuff.
Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig. hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
Oh, so much. This would be so much easier if I just had proper equipment.
Allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point. To plunge cut a hole and then measure back.
No, this is frustrating. This is very, very frustrating. Yeah, I'm hoping this little blue bar that's creeping up is like a render thing.
To find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
Yeah, I think actually. So, let me. Fuck! Yeah, because right after I get through that blue bar is where it just, like, chokes.
Measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
Okay, this audio is fucking worthless. That's gone. How do I force a render?
Measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
So I think something around here where I first like do that. Okay, I'm cutting out everything before that, so. Get rid of that.
Cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot.
Render, motherfucker, render. All right, we're chugging along there. See if I leave it and let it chug for see how far it'll get into it. So I'm going to cut out a lot of this. I can probably get rid of that underlying video if I cut out a lot of this too. So.
And measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
I think I'll probably, as much as I want to kind of keep the cutesy, like, you know, top bottom thing, I think it's too long. Oop. I need to get to. Oop. Okay, let's go. Get to me. There we go. All right, render, bitch, render. I'm wondering why it's got everything pre-rendered. Hey, what's going on, Whitney? How you doing? So, I was telling Mary that I I had to film a lot of this in on my GoPro, so it's in 4K. So we're having a lot of issues with lag time of rendering this video. It's coming through really choppy if I don't give it enough time for this little blue bar that's down there to kind of fill up. Yeah, my mana regen.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Okay, that worked. I like the GoPro. One thing I'm not too fond of is the fisheye effect. It kind of gets out towards the edges. But since it's 4K, it does allow me to zoom in a lot better on shots, so I have a lot more control. But the problem is with my computer, I need to get a better graphics card with some more onboard memory so that I can handle that kind of digital video. But I mean, it's all right. I had to use it because the stand. So I was telling her earlier, the tripod that I had my iPhone that I usually record on sitting on got blown over by the wind, and it caused the iPhone's fine, but it caused the little mount that kind of clamps your phone in place. It caused that to snap. So I had two choices. I could either stop in the middle of filming and go get a replacement piece, or I could try and use one of my other cameras. And so I went with the GoPro just because I had it conveniently located. And maybe it was a good decision, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I'm going to have to do some color balancing to this entire thing here. Yeah, that would have really sucked. That is one reason I got myself an OtterBox to make sure that I had it covered. OtterBox. Get one for your phone. See, I can do plugs. All right, so...
And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
I don't like... I think that's a little bit long. I think I might shorten the speed duration of this to like... Let's take it 3 and 35... And, okay, 45 frames. Let's see where that puts us. Nope, not short enough, I don't think. I don't know why that's at 415 now. Let's do 315.
The pivot point so that we can create a perfect...
Shit, and now I gotta re-render this, so that's okay. Let me...
louder, and that will allow us to plunge cut off.
Okay, because I adjusted, now I gotta wait for my my power regen. There we go. Hey, it's going faster now. That's good.
Measure back to find a pivot point so that we can...
Yeah, actually, I want to go back to here and see how the
plunge cut a
transition
hole
is.
and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Actually, I kind of like that. That worked out pretty well. Okay, so back up to here. Now we got to go into the the actual cutting. So what was that? That was 390. So we will go. We will add this. The rebuild template cutting. We will slap that sucker in. We will slap this monstrosity of an 8-minute video down. I really hate that it's that long. Go, render. Be free, my friend. So how you doing tonight, Whit? Everything going all right? Tara was super stoked to have hit 60 in New World the other evening. Yeah, you know, I had to take a pretty long nap today, too. I just started feeling like crap around 3 o'clock. So I just kind of put myself in busy mode at work and, put up a little note saying, hey, sorry, the afternoon's not for me. And I went and laid down and slept till about 6. Just because, man, I was Can't wait to start causing trouble with her. Yeah, she's excited. She's been looking forward to being able to join the rest of the guild and doing some of the higher end stuff. Now she's all anxious that she doesn't know how to heal well enough. I told her she's got to learn. It's going to take time. She wasn't a crack healer with her cleric in DAOC until after many years of working at it. So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we can get cutting down some of this crap. So she judges herself. That she, like me, own worst enemy type of thing. All right, so let's see. Pretty sure most of this. Shit, I need to zoom this back out. This is terrible. I zoomed in way too far. Not gonna be able to see the full circle. Okay. Topic. I have no frame of context for healing in New World, so I really can't say. But 467,000 fucking healing. That sounds pretty insane. I have no idea, how intense those dungeons are or whatnot. So, oh come on, you were letting me do it earlier. Why are you being a pain in the ass now? And so this is what I'm working with here. Is the trimmer is being very choppy when it comes to the video. Oh, that was on DAOC. Holy shit, that was on DAOC. God dang, that's crazy. Ooh. Okay, so there's my. Now that's got to be a hell of a lot of RPs. Anybody get Rescue under? Or no, Rescue's not playing DOC anymore. Who's the? I don't even know who the raid leader on Alb is, but anybody, it's Hero over on Hib. That's very sus as to how well he knows his tactics, isn't it? Legion is the mid leader. Yeah. Well, I also I did some searching for Terra one night, and you've got a couple of people in your BG that live stream on Twitch without any delays. Like I was standing over her shoulder watching their stream on my cell phone while you guys were at I think you were defending one of the cares, and I mean you could see perfectly exactly where everybody was. So. Now, granted, I think I might have been the only viewer that was in there. I don't know if you can go like anonymous mode on Twitch, but yeah, I think it's probably less radar or something like that than just stream sniping. So, a broadsword doesn't give a shit. Broadsword's got 12 fucking active players. You think it's gonna ban anybody at this point? There's 3 people supporting that entire damn scene or damn game. They don't even have a dev team anymore. They've got probably some part-time contractor that's just occasionally looks at some bugs. I mean, but to be fair, the game is 20 years old. They haven't updated the engine, so it still looks like, crap compared to what's out now, so. Yeah. So either he was stream sniping or you guys have a spy in your midst, which either way is bullshit. I just don't understand people who have to cheat at video games. And I know Hero's been playing for 20 years, so he's at least in his 40s at this point. So he just... You know, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Hib. Hib was my realm. That was the one I really enjoyed playing. Just because, you know, I just preferred some of their casters. Now, don't get me wrong. Fibonacci, my Alb Sork, enjoyed the hell out of him too. But I don't know. Hib. I think it's a nostalgia thing. I started off in Hib because I wanted to go like Nightshade and all that, and it just, you know, that's just what stuck with me. No, I take that back. I started off in Alb because of the Camelot ties, but I didn't get very far before I jumped over to Hib and just started playing that with my Nightshade and my Mentalist. Yeah, that's what I understand. That you know, baseline stun is pretty impressive or is pretty awesome, and I hear the pop is over in Hib, and there's nothing they can do for population control at this point. All right, let's see where we can go here with this. Man, I'm wondering if I don't need to explain the B and the T. I think I'm going to need to do some expo on the B and the T there. Yeah, that's... So, because the template I'm building is going to be just a ring, the inner diameter of that ring is going to be the diameter of my top ring on the stand, and the outer diameter will be the diameter of the bottom ring. So I have to have two different pivot points that are different distances from the hole, so that I can cut the circles appropriately. And yeah, and the fact you asked that really emphasizes that I need to go back and include that in. So we're gonna get rid of this for right now. We'll cut back to that. We're gonna need to pop our other one back in. So much choppiness. Alright, so let's see where we can cut out all this crap. Okay, we got the B and the T there. Okay, I think I can at least cut from after that. So that should make my render a little bit easier. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change up where that cut is and all this kind of jazz. So all right. Let's see. Start your render, boy. Oi, oi, oi. See if I minimize this, if that'll help. What do I have here? Do I have two OBSs open? Oh, no. One is OBS, the other is, okay. I'm just an idiot. OBS is going to be live. Then there's going to be a slight delay going from OBS over to what you call it, YouTube. So leave that. Do that. How's the render going? Did the render stop, or is it just it's just that damn slow? Come on, quit being a pain in the butt. There we go. Give me a bar so I can adjust that. There we go. All right, so let's see where we can get to with this. Move this forward. Okay, we can get rid of all this at the front end here. Sure. That's the very frustrating thing, is anytime I do any activity, it's going to need to re-render. Some serious thunder rolling outside. Oh yeah, I love thunderstorms. They chill me out. I enjoy the hell out of them. I just want to make sure that we've had some hell of wind all day. And I just want to make sure that nothing comes down and takes out my internet connection. Typically, our power is fine because it's really robustly restrained. It's got, like, a nice big steel cable that helps support it from the pole to the house. But my fiber connection, it goes right under a giant oak tree that constantly has old branches falling out of it and stuff. I blame the squirrels. I think they have little chainsaws and they're fucking me over. But, yeah, so I've lost my connection like 3 or 4 times. And it pisses me off because I told AT&T I didn't want it to be jumped off of that pole. I wanted to be jumped off of a pole further down that wasn't directly under some trees. But they couldn't do it / wouldn't do it because of where the documentation said that I needed to be joined to their network. So I'm hoping the laughing is at the squirrels with chainsaws. But yeah. Sorry, that's why I fully support my puppers chasing those little fuckers and getting rid of them. Alright, let's see here. Yeah. And by the way, I'm happy to say we've only got about maybe about a 3 to 5 second delay tonight, so that's good to know. And Tara's streaming downstairs, so it's definitely not due to that. Did I do the right ones here? Yeah. Cute little squirrels. Yeah, slap a fuzzy tail on a rat. That's all you got. The other way I could explain this is if you look at the hole as being... Well, no, the hole's not going to be the center, though. I mean, if you imagine the hole as the center of the circle, then it shows you right there where the difference between the top and the bottom is going to be. But it's actually kind of the opposite. It's just easier to visualize like that. Okay, we'll definitely do a cut here. But I don't know what I'll be able to use after that, so... I used to really like squirrels. I thought they were cute and all that until they started fucking with my house. So, and then once I had to run a family of like 6 of them out of the attic, they became a little less cute. And then once they ate a hole in the side of my roof, in the fascia, so they could get back in my attic, they became even less cute. And you know, I just want to make sure that they don't end up chewing through some friggin' wiring in this place and, you know, frying themselves and setting my house on fire. All right, we'll see here what we got. I think a lot of this we're going to be able to just cut out. Yeah, drilling these holes, this isn't important. You know, I mean, obviously I'm going to have to poke some holes through the damn... Oh, what? Chewing holes in fascia and all that? Yeah, there was a small gap that had formed from between where the eave fascia came down and met the horizontal fascia. There was a little bit of a gap right there because a piece had fallen out and I hadn't gotten to fix it yet. And those squirrels got in there and they chewed away all of the board, the wooden board, to make a nice big hole for them to be able to go in and get into the attic. So the only way I could get them out, I literally had to go up there and chase them all out. And once I was sure, you know, going around that I'd gotten them all out, then I had to go on the outside, and initially I put up just a piece of wood to kind of cover that hole. The next day they had chewed through it again, so I had to chase them out again. Then I had to go back up in there, and I took one of those, the mesh, little mesh inserts you put in like your gutters to keep the leaves from going down there. I took one of those and flattened it out, and then just stapled it to the eave until I can get up there. I need to get the roof redone, so that's why I'm not in any rush to fix the fascia. So once I get the roof redone, then I'll redo all the fascia boards that are damaged, and then I can redo the soffit underneath them. Because I don't want to put new wood up there that's just going to get rotted by, you know, bad rain drainage. So... Alright, let's see where we're at here. Flip it over. Yeah, that's not important. Yeah, I like them slightly more than my neighbor whose tomatoes they constantly steal. So Oop, where's that there? We're gonna get rid of all of that. Okay, let's render from here then. Yeah, I don't particularly... It doesn't make me mad that they're eating, like, you know, the shit we're putting out there that's wild and you know, for them. But, I do wish, you know, it's frustrating not that they eat them, but that they take one fucking bite and then leave the rotting fruit there. Just enough to ruin it, but not enough to actually, like, say, hey, you know, we're sharing this. It's just, you know, basically a big fuck you. I'm gonna, you know, it's all mine. Squirrels need to learn to share. They need to watch more Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers to learn that kind of good behavior. I'd get along much better with nature if nature wasn't just a bunch of assholes. I'm the only asshole that's, you know, that's not the Chip and Dale. Yeah, well, yeah, saying that just made me think of the old Patrick Swayze, Chris Farley SNL skit where they were trying out for Chippendales. Hopefully you guys have seen that. I can't play it on here, but oh, fucking hilarious if you haven't. I mean, you can absolutely imagine the skid itself. So, all right, let's see what we got here. So, drew those upside down. Old school SNL, yeah. Yeah, I realized that I had my 1 and my 2 backwards here when I so definitely can cut at this point. Okay. Top. Flip it over. I mean, do I really even need this shit? Is that even necessary? I mean, I think, you know what? I'm thinking that all that is unnecessary. I just need the portion where I actually measure it and explain why I'm doing the measuring. Oh fuck, I gotta wait. I forgot about that. Ooh, wow, that was a hell of a wind blast. Damn, 60 to 100 mile an hour wind? Ooh, that's pretty brutal. How's the tornado scene up in like in Colorado? I mean, I don't know how bad you guys get hit with it. You know, being up so high in the atmosphere. I'm not sure. Is that rougher? I would guess that you guys regularly get some pretty heavy winds because there's not much around you to absorb it, since you're up. But don't get many in your area. Yes, you guys get the heavy winds, but you don't really out on the plains. They get the tornadoes. Yeah, you guys get heavy winds though because of the elevation, or just who the fuck knows why. Alright, so we're going to have to do a voiceover here on this. Not really. You just did a 10 to 15 miles per hour? Oh, so it was really freak wind. Okay. Okay. Okay, we can cut the rest of that stuff off. Delete that. The audio is doing me no good here, so I'm going to unlink that and remove that.
So we're going to round that down to about 10 inches. So what we'll do is we'll take a piece of scrap and we'll attach it to the bottom of our router, and that will allow us to plunge cut.
You're down the mountains? I thought that entire area was pretty mountainous. I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I'm not going to dox you, so I'm not going to say what city you're in or whatever. But I thought all of Colorado in that general area was pretty highly elevated.
A hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle. And boom, DIY circle cutting jig.
Okay, so that's got to go back to... Yeah, well, I am geographically illiterate. I am lucky if I could find Colorado on a map, much less tell you the topography of it.
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole.
All right, render time. So glad you didn't and that he's okay. I'm confused as what that is. Sorry. The lag with along with my not really working brain has got me a little confused on that. Oh! You're talking about the fall. I see now. Yeah. I'll tell you what. While we're waiting on this to render, I'll show it. I'll show it to you. Mary's already seen it, but you know, hopefully she doesn't mind seeing it again. And don't tell Tara that I showed you her in her PJs. All right, so here's my tubby butt getting up there onto the scaffold. So I was filming the helium infused PVC scene, and so I have taken the one of the bars on my scaffolding. Oh yeah, believe me, if I wasn't going to be on camera, I would have been in PJs too. So I've taken off one of the horizontals for the thing. It's still plenty stable, but I've got a 2x4 going across there with a piece of carpet on there to make it a little bit softer, and then I've got a little bit of a pool noodle underneath the other rail, so I'm going to hook my feet onto it. And what I was going to do is I was going to lean back and hang by my knees so I could do that filming. But as you'll see here, I'm a moron. So at least I was smart enough to get Tara to help me. But I start leaning back, and everything's fine because she's supporting me. And then I realize right at this point that the 2x4 is still under my thigh and not up under my knee, so I'm not going to be able to really to hang down like I want to. So I decide, okay, I need to sit back up and readjust. Whoop. And then that is where I when Tara's support left me, my fat ass was too much weight over on one side, and it cantilevered the entire thing to make that fall. And so, fortunately, I mean, my head never hits the ground until I just lean it back. So head never got hurt, no concussion or anything like that. The carpet, I barely felt the 2x4 when I landed on it, and because there was no crossbar here, I had the big C going around me on the thing, so the scaffolding didn't even land on me. So really the only thing that's hurting is my neck from restraining my head and holding it up so that I didn't hit my head. So yeah, very lucky. Honestly, I would say that the taking the fall and not having it and kind of rolling the way I did is not just because of my roly-poly Humpty Dumptiness, but also because of all the Aikido that Tara and I did. It kind of ingrained how to take a fall. And so I was able to distribute that fall across my body instead of taking it just flat on my back or anything. So, no, I've been to a chiro before. I hate chiros. If it works for you, great. Tara's mom loves them. Tara is very fine with it, but I think they're kind of a sham. I don't buy into it. So. Yeah, we did Aikido right before we bought the house. Actually, we'd done Aikido for about 2 years. There was a instructor from my old job. He was a psychology professor, actually, a psychiatrist. He had his black belt. He was like a second or third dan, I can't remember. But he taught a small group of students at Rhodes, and he also allowed other people to come join. So it was extremely cheap. It was like, I think $20 a month for both of us. So the only thing cures your migraines, and since yeah, I'm glad it works for you. I really am. It didn't do anything for me. But anyway, he used to teach, and Bob was fantastic. Learned a lot. But we kind of fell out of going, and then we got the house and things. Even though we literally moved closer to where we were training, because Rhodes College is right down the street from where our house is literally within walking distance. We never made it back, and by the time we were ready to go back, they had been Bob was no longer teaching the students there because he was teaching Aikido as a physical education credit, and the demand of it fell a little bit, and so they ended up canceling that class. So he was no longer able to teach on campus. So they went out to like Bartlett or something, basically where we moved from to when we moved into Midtown. So a 20-minute drive as opposed to a 2-minute walk down the street. So we just never really got around to getting back into it, and I'd love to start back up. It was a whole lot of fun. It was very interesting, but one of the things I really enjoyed about it, and really the main reason we went for it, is because Tara's not a really hulking girl, and so I wanted her to not have to go through a martial art with force on force, but more of how to redirect your opponent's force and use that to your advantage. And so it was very entertaining, very very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. But anyway, so I'm going to close this back down. There's really nothing to see in the next 20 minutes, just me there. And, I get up, I'm perfectly fine. I'm around, just start going and shutting down the cameras and stuff, because at that point my neck was almost instantly sore. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm no longer going to film. I'm not going to film anything today. We'll just take a little bit of a break.
And measure back to find a pivot point.
Okay, let me
Cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
So I'm going to have to. All right, we'll go to here. Can I add a voiceover directly from here? No, I have to do it up in this thing. Okay, media, scroll up, sound. Where am I doing my visual effects? I don't have any voiceovers in this yet, do I? Okay. New voiceover. All right. Yeah, she flipped out. She thought I was pretty much dead, but no, I hit the ground. I laid there for a second to collect my thoughts, just to make sure do a kind of a mental check of where I was. Called myself an idiot a few times in my head, and then like I said, aside from my neck, I was good. Never had any soreness in my back, never had any soreness in my shoulders or anything. It's just all, and it's mainly on this side. So I am tiger bombed up today. All right, so now before I hit record on this, let's see what I'm going to say. All right, no, I don't want the new package right now. Let me close that, and let's look at what we've got going on here. So. All right, so I am. So definitely want to mention. Let me pull this out here so we see. Measure back 11 inches from the bottom of the hole. Actually, we don't need to worry about the diameter. Measure back from the bottom of the plunge cut to get our top radius. Measure back from the top of the cut for our bottom radius. Let's see, let me scroll back here.
Perfect circle.
That looked like shit.
Plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
Okay, so I need to mention that's a pivot point. So the pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the top, or from the bottom of the plunge cut, while the pivot point for the bottom of the template, for the template's bottom. Change up the language so it's not repetitive, so it doesn't say the same thing, but change up the language so it doesn't work here. Bottom is measured back from the top of the cut. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, while the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured back from the top. Is measured from the top of the cut. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, and I'll explain why, because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template, while the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. Alright, so let's interject that. Let's see. Alrighty, we'll zoom out real quick. I'm going to scroll that up so I can get more of my audio in here. And we will... It's not really a sound effect, though. It should be audio, isn't it? Oh, that's where all the voiceover... Oop, I am about to sneeze. Excuse me, and that's why I need to be able to mute my microphone. Okay. So, new voiceover. Mute that. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, because that's the edge of the bit that will... Yep, I need to... That didn't work. I choked on that one. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the bottom's... The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, because that's the edge of the bit that will create the template. Alright, we're just going to delete those real quick. Delete them. This is what happens when I try and read instead of trying to just, like, speak. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. Okay. I appreciate that, Mary. I don't know that that's true, but thank you very much. It's very flattering. Rename VO dash. What is this? Pivot measure. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, voiceover. Okay, so we will. There should be a remove. Where's the one that's delete empty tracks? I want to move that up to there, and then we'll delete empty tracks again. Okay. Shit, where did my... There it is, VO. I think that's it. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut, because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. Okay, so...
And that will allow us to plunge cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point, so that we
Thank
can
you,
create
ladies.
a
I
perfect
appreciate
circle.
it. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is... Okay, so let me find that. Let's go right here. We'll do a cut in that. We'll move that over just a little bit so while I'm writing top. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured... We'll go a little bit there. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. Okay, I think this is a little bit long. I think maybe what I need to do is just move that there. Figure out. So it's 637.15. I can speed along this.
Cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of...
Then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
And honestly,
Measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
the pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom... Ah, fuck me, I forgot about that. I should not have done that. Goddamn rendering. Alright. Another 3 hours of rendering that I've got to wait. Okay. Trying very hard to keep my my beverage from dripping condensation on me. This measuring piece just feels unnecessarily long, and
measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point, and that just sounds unnecessarily loud. Let me point for the top.
Perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top.
Create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. Oh fuck, it didn't render all that yet. Let me see, where did I end up? I think what I'm probably going to do... All right, Mary, I appreciate you being here, dear. You have a great night. Get some rest. Hopefully you can zonk out pretty easily. Talk to you after a while. All right, let's let that re-render. Yeah, actually, it's getting to be about that time, and I'm getting kind of frustrated right now anyway, so... And I got a puppy visitor. What's up, Starkey? You come here, say hi. Come here. Come on, can we get a day's that? No? You're not in the mood to get in lap? Okay. No, I'm not taking you out right now. Go tell Mama. Alright, let's see.
Measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. You've been requested on camera. You want to come here? Come say hi to Bella. Come here. Oh, are you scared of the storm? He's okay, kiddo. My big girl. love you. Yes, I do. Okay, here you go. All right, let's see. The template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from... Okay, so where I've hit top, I'm going to go ahead and cut right there. Just so I have a marker to go from where the top is to the bottom, where the bottom is.
Punch cut a hole and then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top for a template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the... Oh, this is really annoying. What is this? Timeline cache? What is a timeline cache? Let me look at that. Wonder if that might save me a little bit of render time or something. Hit Film Express. Timeline cache. Whoop. It's right on there and I just screwed it up. Bing, you're a piece of garbage. No, I do not. I can't watch somebody's... Let me go to here. A place to clear the cache. Should be clearing this on a regular basis. Potentially a bit of slowdown access some media files. Certainly, transport ticket. Up. Clearing a media cache frees up disk space. Wow, that wind's kicking up heavy out there. Okay, that's not... The space back and therefore may see speed benefits. I think I forced it to be regenerated by identifying anything wrong with bugs. Okay, that's... Yeah, I don't think that's going to help me really. So what's that? What was the other option here? Is that just export? Yeah, it's just export it. Okay.
And measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top for a template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. So what is our length of time from here? Let me double check. Okay, that's where we start measuring, so that's it. I need a pen. Okay, so get that at 6. I need a pen that works. There we go. 6:22:04. So 6 minutes, 22 seconds, and 4 frames in is where that starts. So now and I'm done speaking about the top at 6:32:15. 6:32 and 15. So that is a duration of 10 seconds and 11 frames. So if I go in here, grab this, I go speed duration, that is linked, and I change this from 12:22 to 10 seconds and 11 frames. And I move this back over to here. And then I'll wait 6 hours for it to re-render. It should speed that up enough to sync up with the audio. And I can move that over. That shouldn't affect the rendering of the video. But it did. Trying to figure out what it's kind of catching on there. Okay, whatever. Well, on the plus side, I know I'm going to have plenty of material for tomorrow, because I haven't even gotten into the cutting of the circle yet. So, yeah, but after this, I will definitely be getting away from the 4K video until I can upgrade this this computer. or upgrade a computer. Maybe this one, maybe not.
And measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. So what is my speed duration here? So that's 122.8. So if I go to here and I go speed duration here, change that to that. Re-render here. Because I don't want it to be too pivot point for mismatched. Top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template... Okay. Let that render. I think this is probably going to be the last edit I'm going to make for the night. Just because we're about 10 minutes until 11. That's the normal stop time. And I don't feel like sitting here and just watching everything render for fucking 30 seconds every time I make an edit. So maybe I'll have more patience tomorrow. But okay, I can clear all that out because I don't think I need that anymore. What do you think, Bella? Is this scene even necessary, or I mean, is it too long? Is it explanatory enough? While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. Yeah, I definitely think I can speed that up some. So, don't blame me. Look, if you need to go to bed, dear, feel free. I really do appreciate you being here, but I don't want you to, to keep yourself up. God damn, this pen does not work. Well, just for me. I mean, it's very sweet of you, but don't put yourself at a detriment for me here. I'm just worried. That's what I think I'm going to do about the speed up there. So 632.15 to 637.15. Oh, that's actually perfect. 5 seconds. It's almost like I planned that, huh? All right, so let's go speed duration. We're just going to change this to a flat 0500. We will re-render. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. Having cut back on my caffeine, so having this, Burger King placement ad as Diet Coke with the caffeine in it's going to kind of rile me up. Plus that 3-hour nap today. I don't think that I'll be getting to bed before 2 a.m. either. So, but I need time to unwind after this anyhow. So. Maybe I'll take the girls outside so they'll do their business, and I'll play in the rain a little bit. That's always refreshing to me. I love I'll go out and I'll just stand in the storm and just let the water wash over me. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. See, that just feels way too fast comparatively.
And then measure back to find a pivot point so that we can create a perfect circle.
The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. I don't know, how did that flow together? Did that difference in speed really make any difference? Was it noticeable, the difference in speed between the top and the bottom piece? I think actually when it played, I think it flowed pretty well. The pivot point for the top of our template should be measured from the bottom of the plunge cut because that's the edge of the bit that will create the top of the template. While the pivot point for the template's bottom is measured from the top of the cut. Okay, good. I appreciate it. I think I will do one last thing tonight, which... Oop, nope, don't want that open. Yeah, I had it synced up really well with the voiceover, I think. The problem I had was that speed transition, but I guess since I'm already doing a speed up and the speed down, it wasn't as noticeable as I thought it was going to be. So let me see here. Harris Heller. What was the name of that damn thing? Stream Beats. Yeah, that's what I need. So so this is what I've been kind of using to find my music for my is just some different and chill step, synthwave, rock amp, lo-fi is what I've been. Let's see what all he's got in here. I'm trying to remember where. Let's see, let's listen. Let's go to create. Oh, that's right. I had to go down in here and go to his actual tracks. Let's see. Let's find something here. No, it's not really the vibe I need there. Do you think this music is a little bit too slow for that? Here at 576. I'm just trying to figure out that video with the pacing of the video. Is that more set to this kind of audio, or would it be set to something a little bit faster? Is what I'm trying to figure out the tempo of the video. Okay, this is all way too Asian inspired for that. If I was doing something more like that, I'll have to remember for when I could do like a green and green project, which is like a craftsman style build that's very Asian influenced with cloud lifts and very soft curves and things. So let's see what Rain has, because that seems appropriate for right now. No, way too. Yeah, the green and green. That's really cool stuff. I'm not opposed to this. Those beats would work really well. Let's see. Let me download that. Oh shit. Downloading into Terra's. Oop. That's okay. Let me go off here because alright, so where is yes, I'm gonna download it from there. No, I don't want Google. Oh, you son of a bitch, I've got Google Drive for desktop. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here today. And I will figure out something to do with the music or whatever and put it in there. I need to have some kind of underlaying beat, especially for those quiet parts. But something to just kind of bring it together. I like the kind of the drum beat on that Firefly Nights, but we'll have to see. This song, you agree that it works? I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll probably integrate that tonight, or maybe a little bit, or maybe that'll be the first thing I do next time, because I'm a little bit tired. Not like, sleepy tired, but just like mentally drained trying to deal with this. So first things first, let me save. So we are now at a 6-minute and 30-second video. Still got a lot more footage to add in, so this is definitely going to be a 10-minute video, which is good. It's going to take me almost a month to get it out, but that's okay. I'm just starting to ramp up, learning this kind of stuff. I was hoping to make, I thought 2 weeks would be doable, but only filming a couple days a week and for a few hours a day because of technical difficulties and going kerplunk has not made things easier. So it'll just be what it'll be, and I'll get it out when I get it out. And once I start getting more used to doing all this stuff, I can then start holding myself to a regular schedule. But anyway, Bella, I appreciate you being here, dear. Mary, I'm glad that you came in. I'm guessing you said you're going to watch this again tomorrow morning. So thank you very much. Appreciate both of you all being here. You all have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. And I'm going to try and be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock again. I'm trying to stick to that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule. And especially when I have to do this. But it all depends on how much footage I've got left. So I definitely have enough for us to do tomorrow night. And if the weather cooperates, I might be able to get 1 or 2 more shots done before Thursday stream. So here's to hoping. But anyway, good night, dear. I appreciate it. Go chill, and hopefully you can get some rest. Night-night.